So I've had a few friends ask me why the issue with Jordan Peterson and what he said about Brett Kavanaugh angered me so badly. So I'm going to tell you why. Right now we're in a very real culture war. We're in a war that tells us, allegedly, that men and women are enemies, that due process is no longer has merit, that because people cry and scream and pound on the doors of the Supreme Court because they didn't get the justice that they chose. Look, here's the deal, people. In America, there has to be corroborative evidence, witnesses, to prove a crime happened. Period. And when Jordan Peterson tweets out, the one person who has been allegedly a warrior for free speech and for speaking truth to power and to never bowing to the mob, for Jordan Peterson to tweet out, well, it's complex. If he stepped down, then he could exonerate himself and we could have someone less divisive. You know what? Screw you, Jordan Peterson. That's what I say. Seriously. I don't care if that offends people. Because guess what? Jordan Peterson is not a god. I have a God. And he's the one that dictates my values and my belief system. And truth is truth regardless of whose mouth it's coming out of. And Jordan Peterson was wrong. Not on something small. This is not a little issue. When he says it's complex, no, not really. Actually, not at all, Jordan. It is literally the simplest concept and is the backbone of our judicial system. That you are innocent until proven guilty. The idea of due process. And the idea that Brett Kavanaugh would step down and put a less divisive character. I'm going to address that on two levels. Guess who else has been a divisive character? Guess who else has had questions swirling around them? Ooh, is Jordan Peterson a Nazi? Is Jordan Peterson alt-right? Is he a transphobe? Is he... Yeah, you've had a lot of questions surrounding you, buddy. And it's... You know, it's a damn good thing that you had people like me and people like those of us who have followed you all these years as you've risen in your fame to have your back, because we knew that you were speaking something that was true and that was good. But guess what? This is not a tiny issue. This isn't something little. This isn't a disagreement on policy. This is condoning mob rule. And you bent the knee at a time when we needed you the most, in a culture war where we need you the most, and you're speaking to young men and telling them, take responsibility for your actions, speak truth, don't speak anything that makes you makes you weak, never submit to the mob. These are all things that you taught us. You cannot train, Jordan Peterson, a generation of people, a generation of intellectual titans, to spot a liar and call out a lie and then pull that crap. You don't get to do that. And you don't get to get away with it. When you signed on with CAA, you made a deal with the devil. The same company that wrote, pretty much co-opted the hashtag #MeToo to the Time's Up movement. Yeah, they're the ones that did that. And guess what? They did it while they were still repping Harvey Weinstein. Those are the people that you're signed with, the agency you're signed with. I wonder why you would say such a thing on Twitter. Are you too busy shopping for suits? Too busy counting your money there, Jordan? And yes, it was a betrayal to those of us who have followed him all these years, and to those not even so much myself, but to younger boys who look up to him because he filled a vacuum. A vacuum of masculinity that's going on right now in our culture. And that does not negate any of the lessons that I've learned. It does not negate the fact that because of him, he was the catalyst that pushed me to rigorously formulate my opinions and to articulate them in such a way that I speak truth and I'm no longer afraid. In many, many ways, Jordan Peterson has helped me to be a brave person. And I'm not saying all this to be mean. I'm saying this because it's, again, truth. And I'm not going to stop speaking truth because the flag bearer falls. There's still a war, y'all. There's still a culture war going on. Brett Kavanaugh being appointed to the Supreme Court was a huge win because the man is innocent. And when there's a war going on, you don't drop your guns and surrender because the flag bearer falls. We band together. We keep speaking truth. We refuse to censor the truth. And when there's a lie, we call it out. And if you truly learned anything from this man, then you will be saying the exact same thing. I read an article today from an activist, obviously, talking about how conservative white women, actually, she broke it down even more, because these intersectionality people, they can't just divide us by gender. They have to divide us by race and every other way. That white conservative women are and always have been the enemy of women. I'm so sick of this divisiveness, y'all. I'm a conservative woman with a son, and I happen to enjoy, nay, I happen to see a necessity in the very backbone of our justice system, which is due process. And if Brett Kavanaugh were to step down, like Jordan Peterson said, all that would do would serve to vilify him in the eyes of the nation. It would vilify him. It would forever brand him as something that he is not. His children would have to live with that brand of shame that their father's a rapist. It's all lies. It was a sham trial. The left said before they did it that they would, quote unquote, do anything to keep this man out of the Supreme Court because they knew that they would no longer have the almighty, consuming, ravenous power, gluttonous power that they've exercised in the Supreme Court. They knew that. Because now the court's going to operate the way that it should. Not as a weaponized arm of the legislature. It's going to operate as the Supreme Court. Nonpartisan. Constitutionalist. That's the judge that we put there. This is our democratic system. We voted Donald Trump into office. He appoints the Supreme Court nominee, or so the Supreme Court justice. And that's that. We have the majority of Senate. Read your civics books. Nothing about this is unfair. If anything about this, if anybody's saying this is unfair, it's because you are afraid of losing power. Well, guess what? Too damn bad. Because to conservatives, it's not about power. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And you don't get to cheat and you don't get to break the rules of the game. And to anyone, any girls out there listening, this BS about men being the enemy and there being a rape culture and this and that. Wake up. Please, God, I wish you people would wake up. They need your vote so bad. They need it so bad that they will lie and they will cheat and they will weaponize rape allegations. Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? This is a party that will literally weaponize the most grievous of crimes, rape, in order to maintain power. If those are the type of people that you want running your country, maybe you should, I don't know. I think like China maybe would be a good place for y'all. Someplace else, because it ain't America. Men aren't your enemy. Conservative women aren't your enemy. But people like Jordan Peterson, again, to address that topic, they're not God. I have a God. If you don't have a core belief or a core truth to hold on to, then you'll probably be mad at me for attacking Jordan Peterson. But Jordan Peterson ain't my daddy. He's not my God. He's a man. And he's not without sin. And he messed up big time when he did not speak truth at the most imperative time. We're at the summit right now. And he stabbed us in between the shoulder blades. That's all I've got. I just wanted y'all to know that. My feelings on Jordan Peterson, and I'm damn glad that Brett Kavanaugh made his way to the Supreme Court. He deserves it. And democracy won out. You don't get to break the game. You don't get to do it. So just to add on to that last video, again, to any Jordan Peterson fans who think that I might have been too harsh, there's nobody who has been a bigger supporter of Jordan Peterson than me. I have followed Jordan ever since Bill C-16, when he was thrust into the public sphere, into the public eye, and he was castigated, and he was accused, and he prevailed. I've been a fan of Jordan Peterson. To say that Jordan Peterson has impacted my life would be a gross understatement. You're not going to find someone who supported the man more than I did. I drove 12 hours to Nashville to see him lecture. This isn't about me being, you know, I took the entire weekend. I did not want to make a video about the subject until I read all the tweets and I gave him time to sort himself out, like he tells us, sort yourself out. I gave him time to do that. I waited all weekend and I thought about how I felt, and I thought about why I felt the way that I felt. And that is why. That is why I'm making this video. And most importantly, I'm making it because I want everyone who was a follower of Jordan, or who still is. I'm not telling you that I'll probably still lend his book to people, you know? I'm not telling anybody to stop being a follower or whatever, a fan, if you want to call yourself a fan. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you the facts on the ground. I'm telling you what really happened. And I'm telling you that, again, I hope, because I've seen so many people's lives changed just by speaking a very simple message. And the odd thing about it is, the things that Jordan has said, the points that he's made, these are all things that my parents know. Y'all's parents know it. It's just that it has been lost in our culture. And so he filled a vacuum. And I'm not saying he's not an intelligent man at all. He's a brilliant man. But he filled a vacuum that needed filling at that time. And he gave a very powerful message that was needed. But just because he's lost his way doesn't mean that the fight is over. And if you don't have something, my main point is that we need to stick together, and that if you don't have something greater than a man, greater than Mr. Dr. Jordan Peterson to anchor yourself to, then A, this video is going to piss you off, and B, people are going to continue to fail you in life, because people are fallible. There's one who is not, only one. And until you anchor yourself and find yourself rooted in him, then you're going to continue to be people are going to continue to let you down. I don't place my trust in man. And you should not either. Anytime we put someone on a pedestal, A, it's not fair to them, and B, it's not fair to you, because you're going to be perpetually disappointed. And I made this video because it was a reminder to me. It was a reminder to me because I had so much respect for Jordan Peterson that it did bother me on a personal level, where it shouldn't have. It shouldn't have bothered me to the point that it shouldn't have bothered me emotionally, I should say. Because when we do that and we set people up, again, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. So if you don't have that in your life, please, please find it. Please find it. Because this world is suffering. A lot of what Jordan Peterson has said up to that tweet is very much true. And guess what else? A lot of what Jordan Peterson has said is very biblical. Objective truth, absolute truth, not based on emotion. Traditions matter, truth matters, and the one point that he didn't quite make it to is the source. So maybe the project is that he got y'all almost there, and you need to take that last step. Because all the intellectual reasoning and all of the debates will only go so far. You can only intellectualize to a certain point until the source reveals itself. And the source is one living God, made manifest in Christ, who died for your sins and who rose again. A living God. I just pray that people who have followed Jordan Peterson's work and who've been profoundly affected and changed in really amazing ways, all y'all that I know, that I've seen that in your life, I pray that none of that's undone in any way, and I pray that you continue to seek out salvation with fear and trembling. It's a good day because truth can't die. It can't. Truth came to earth in the form of God, and they killed him, and he rose again from the dead. The world will try to kill truth. It has tried from the inception of man, and it will continue to try, but it will never succeed. And I hope that you find the truth, because I genuinely love y'all. I genuinely do. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.